Okay, so for this tutorial, I want to demonstrate how to create your own custom shape. There are several ways to do this. There's a new P-shape object that you could use if you look at the processing documentation. But I'm going to go a little old school here and just keep it simple. So the idea here, for starters, I have a 3D scene set up, and I've added the PZCam to this so I can move around in my scene. Zoom, zoom. All right. So no big whoop with that. What I want to, as I draw the shape, I want to show it in 3 dimensions with the idea that maybe this could be extended or new shapes could be added later on. Anyways, so let's get to the shape creation. So what I want to do for this shape is create something that looks almost like a line graph. Okay, so it has a lot of different ups and downs, bumps and things like that. And then at the end it would come back down and come back across and finish. Okay, so it would be flat on the sides and the bottom, but along the top it would have some irregular shape to it. Right? So how do we do that? So there's 2 functions we're going to use, the begin and end shape, to close off another function called vertex. So if we just call out all the vertices that we want, we could say one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, one here. Okay. So obviously this is going to get repetitive, so we're going to use a for loop to help us with that, and then we'll individually call out these others. Right? So let's just go ahead and start this off. So begin shape and end shape. Right? And let's just say vertex. Oh, let's just make up some numbers for now. 0, 0, 0, and vertex 100, 100, 0. So you can see I'm using 3 parameters because we're using 3-dimensional space. And vertex, let's see what this one should be. Let's come back to 0, 100, 0. What we should end up with here is a triangle. Okay, so we can see the triangle, but the triangle itself doesn't close itself off. Let's go ahead and just take that first point and make it the last point as well. And so now you can see we've drawn a triangle. So exciting. Okay, and it's just a wireframe one. You can see I have no fill. And I'd added the box to the scene just so that I could have a point of reference for 3D space. All right. So this is very simple. You can see that you can draw any shape. You can also see that 0, 0, 0 ends up being the center of the screen because PZCam, that's what PZCam starts out, is 0, 0 on the X and Y, and then this value right here tells it how far in the Z away from the center it should be. All right, so that's the beginning. So what I want to do is draw this crazy shape across the screen here and down and across. And one thing here is that if I start at 0, all of it's going to be shifted off to this side, and I want to center it right at the very beginning using the 3D camera. So what I need to use is negative values. So let's just say that this whole thing is going to be 100 units across. Okay, so and then so let's go over here to the first vertice, and let's say minus 50, and let's bring it down a little bit, which in this case would be a higher number. Let's go ahead and see where that ends up. Okay, so there's the start. Right. And that's also going to be our end. So let's just copy, oops, let's copy, paste that in there. But this time, so instead of defining all these points, let's get to the next part of this. Let me go ahead and run this. All right, so you can see it works its way back around. What I want to do is have it come up here, do some jiggly lines, come back down to this, and all the way back across. So what we're going to do is use a for loop to draw these middle lines to start with. So beginShape, blah, 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 for integer I. Now, a lot of times we use for loops for counting, but we can also just use their numbers to position things on the screen. So that's what I'm going to do with I here. So I'm going to say that this equals minus 50. I'm going to say that I can go up to, so it's less than or equal to 50, not minus 50. So we're going to start at minus 50, go across the screen to 50, and we're going to do that one at a time. So we'll do I plus plus. All right, so now we're going to say vertex. Now the X is the thing that's going to go wiggling across the screen. Sorry, got my little cursor here. So that is going to be I. And then for the Y direction, let's go ahead and give it a random 20 to 50. I don't know. Let's see what happens with that. And then the Z is going to be 0. So it's going to do the first point. It's going to go up and do all those wiggly lines. Then we need it to come down 1 point. So let's do copy. So the X, Y, Z coordinates for this, and this is where I should probably double demonstration of this in class so I can draw on the whiteboard as we're working. But this would be 50 and 50 here and 0. Okay, so we're starting at X50 and we're 50 down on the page, 0 on that. We go all the way across from minus 50 in the X to 50 in the X with a bunch of random Y values. Then we come back down to this point and then we go back across. So let's see what we got. All right, so right now that's again a little seizure inducing, but it's doing what we want it to do. Let's just go up here and use our friend random seed. Oops. It requires a value. Okay, and there we go. All right, so let's start this. Let's look at the code here. So we begin the shape. We start with this vertex here. Then we randomly generate 100 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It just keeps going. Okay, it's just randomly doing these values until we get to this would be the last one in the for loop. And then we tell it to come back down. So if this is 0, 50 across and 50 down. And if this is 0, this would be minus 50 and 50 down, which is the same place we started. So maybe we could put this at 40 and 50, right? Or maybe we put it at, not really happy with my shape yet. Let's try that. There, that's better. I like that shape. So this is just using random. You could certainly use noise. You could have all kinds of multiple shapes in here. You can control it one way or the other. But that's it. So beginShape and endShape, and we just have to put the vertices in here. The thing to note is that we have some vertices that just get called directly by us, and others that have random values, and we're using a for loop to generate a whole bunch of those. You just have to do a little thinking, get your graph paper out, and figure out exactly where all those points would go. There's no reason we can't do plus equals 5. So we could simplify what the curve is. I'm not sure if it will let me do that. Probably throw an error. Yeah, it's not going to like that. But you get the point. All right, so this is how you use begin and end shape. If you look at the documentation online for P-shape, you will see there's just one extra step involved, And if you're doing lots and lots of shapes, it's definitely a benefit to use that. But it would still incorporate this process, almost the same, just with a little bit of change in the syntax. So this is well worth learning. Okay, hope that helps.